Yeah, good morning, Kieran. Well, as you say, the Prime Minister will be here later on today, in fact, at the War Memorial Museum, where Paul Fletcher, a Parliamentary Secretary, the Communications Minister, joins me. Thanks for your time today, Paul Fletcher. I know you're here at this leadership forum between the two countries, and a big focus for you is the New Zealand broadband and how they've rolled that out. What lessons do you see as Australia needing to learn from that?
Well, I think there's a lot of lessons. You're right that I'm here for the Australia-New Zealand Leadership Forum, which is occurring today. Very important marker of the relationship between Australia and New Zealand. $20 billion or more in trade each year. Australian investment into New Zealand is over $80 billion. So it's a very important relationship between the two countries. But as you say, we can certainly learn specifically from what the New Zealanders have done with broadband. The UFB, the so-called ultra-fast broadband policy that was introduced by the key national government here, $1.35 billion of public money has gone into that, and they're building out a national network, already over 40% rolled out. So they've done a terrific job, and certainly both Minister Turnbull and I have observed publicly on a number of occasions that if we'd had the opportunity to start from the same place that the New Zealand government was able to start from, there's a lot in what they've done that would be very appealing to follow. That it's been very cost effective. Of course, we inherited the approach of the Labor government in Australia, a commitment to spend many billions of dollars, and so we've spent the last year and a half now getting the NBN in Australia back on track, getting the deal in place with Telstra, moving to the multi-technology mix of fibre to the node, fibre to the premises and cable, so that we can roll out the network as cost effectively as possible. But certainly the Kiwis have done a terrific job in getting a network built very cost effectively.
You mentioned, of course, your Minister, Malcolm Turnbull. Now, we've seen even in the New Zealand Herald today talk of this leadership issue. Where's your position on where this is all at now?
Well, I'm here in New Zealand to find out more about what is being done in broadband over here, and so I'll confine my comments to that. There is a lot to learn from the New Zealand approach in relation to broadband, also in relation to rural broadband. So they've got what's called a rural broadband initiative involving mobile towers being used for both voice and data, and there's a number of lessons that we've taken from that in the Abbott government's $100 million commitment to improve mobile coverage around Australia. One of the other areas that I've been having discussions on is online safety. In New Zealand there's a bill set to go through the Parliament potentially later this year, the Harmful Digital Communications Bill. In Australia we've got the Enhancing Online Safety for Children legislation, which has been through the House of Representatives and next goes to the Senate. So both countries working to make the internet safer for children, and I've had some very productive discussions about that as well.
Okay, well, Paul Fletcher, busy time over here. Thanks for your time on Sky News.
Thanks, Tom.
So we will, of course, see the PM touching down later on this afternoon, 3 o'clock local time at the airport here in Auckland.
Tom, thank you very much for that, and join us on